All right, Ed Carbajal from MyMMAnews.com speaking with Lionheart Jillian DeCoursey, who is going to be pretty busy on Friday night with the Phoenix tournament. Jillian, thank you so much for taking the time to do this, especially on the week of.
No problem. Thank you for having me on.
So one of the things I have to say, I think folks should know is just like your interactions with fans on social media, and just like overall with this sport is one thing that, so folks that aren't following you should definitely give you a follow on your social media account on Twitter, especially because I know you're really active on there. I mean, you drop a lot of knowledge just about when fights are happening. You're usually watching along with a lot of folks too. So you have a lot of support from doing that interaction. And I know Invicta just announced, was it yesterday or the day before, that they're going to let fans vote on the
Yeah.
So I'm wondering. So do you think all that is going to kind of pay off in the results of the voting, or?
I mean, I don't really know how I feel about that, honestly. It's like mixed. Like in one sense, I'm like, it's definitely pretty cool because it gets more, fan interaction. It gets people like talking about it, like into it. But then the other side of it, it becomes like that side of it where it's like a popularity contest. And I'm like, that just brings you back to like high school days, and it's like, all right, does it really make sense for like making good fights, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. But I mean, you're going to be fighting different people, if it works out the way that every fighter probably wants it to. But
Right.
you actually have experience with a couple of the people, other women on the tournament. So I mean, do you think that? I know the press release said that Del Boni was a favorite. I saw you just tweeted something that you just met her a little while ago.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Last night, when we arrived, I saw her in the elevator. She's cool people.
But I mean, I know you fought Van Zandt, and I think you fought Mahalik too before.
Yep. And
So
now I fought actually, I fought Katie Perez as well, and I fought Marissa as well.
so I mean, I find that I thought that was weird that they have a favorite picked out, but I'm like, well, she's already experienced a lot of the
Right.
fighters. So I mean, and do you think that gives you an edge for what's coming up?
I think it does because I have wins against all of them. So
Mm-hmm.
just like from the confidence perspective, it's like, okay, I know, obviously, it's been, some of them, it's been a few years since we fought. So like myself, like everyone's going to improve.
Mm-hmm.
But you kind of know their style, right? You know what it feels like to be in the cage with that person.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that in that side of it helps. But I also understand why they have Delbani as a favorite. She just fought for the title.
Mm-hmm.
She did well in that fight. The results were what the results were. So,
Yeah.
I kind of understand why things are going in that direction.
Mm. By the way, excuse me if I'm drinking, and I
Nah, do what you
usually
gotta do.
have I'm drinking that's seltzer water, but I'm usually in my room where I have set up to do podcasts and stuff, but I'm in Jersey and it's super hot right now, so I have to go in the room with the air conditioning in it.
Yeah, go for it.
But anyway, back to you. So the you knew about this for a while. I know you were kind of keeping it lid on it because you couldn't say anything until they announced it.
Yeah, I follow
So,
rules, unlike some people in the tournament.
oh, did somebody else put it out before? I didn't.
Badly, yes.
Okay. All right. I didn't know that. I mean, it must be somebody I'm not following yet. But
Yeah, and well, not only did they out that they were in the tournament and it was happening before it was supposed to be announced, they were calling out people that were in the tournament that were following rules.
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll leave that at that.
Yeah, no, definitely. But that's funny because I mean you were so good about keeping it under wraps, and I was just like, all right, well, I was like, I'll ask you when you tell me, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
yeah. I mean, because I've been with Invicta for a while, and like I
mhm,
respect that side of it. That hey, you know what? When they let us know things, they tell us like, hey, you know what? Just don't announce it until we let you know. So I try and be respectful and follow the rules.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, you should. So that's good. But but when you did find out, it looks like you had quite enough. I mean, you had some time to get ready for something like this. I don't know if you outside of like maybe grappling tour, have you ever done a tournament like this before? And if so,
Yeah,
like how do you prepare for it?
Never MMA tournaments. I've done, lots of grappling tournaments. I mean, as far as preparation goes, my last fight was it was a title fight at 115. So, we went, it was like how Cage Fury does it is like the 4 rounds, and if you need a fifth. So I
Mm-hmm.
did 4 straight rounds, like hard rounds. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that was like a big prep for it because that was just in December. As far as training goes, I didn't train too differently. I just pushed the cardio a little bit more, maybe did more rounds.
Mm-hmm.
A couple times with sparring, I did gaps in between my rounds to feel that kind of like cool down and then pick it back up.
Mm-hmm.
But just really push the pace.
I mean, it's funny you're talking about the last fight from December. I actually rewatched it this morning, knowing that we were going to talk today, and I mean, it doesn't feel that long ago. So one of the questions I had were just like, how did you feel, coming from that fight, getting ready for this one? But I mean, it is some time past, so I would imagine you're fully recovered and ready to go.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it definitely, took me a little bit to recover from that one because we went at it for 4 rounds. But it, after like a month, I was like pretty much back to full training. So
And like, when you have a fight that set up, because I know you fought on short notice. You fought on you're used to fighting an announcement to fight one opponent, and then you have several here that you don't know who it's going to be. Obviously until it could change up. I mean, depending on who wins and how
right.
things move along. So, like, I'm just wondering, like, does that add any? I mean, again, you fought some of the other fighters on the card already, but like, how do you get ready for something like that? Like, I mean, mentally, how do you look ahead, or do you just try to be in the moment as much as you can?
So I mean, the mental focus that I did for this one, as far as like opponents and things like that, is
Mm-hmm.
obviously you're gonna watch film on everybody that's in the tournaments. You have an idea. But mainly it was just focusing on like what I was gonna do. Okay, this is what my game plan needs to be, regardless of who the opponent is, and
Mm-hmm.
how to execute that, regardless of what their style is.
It's funny. You just reminded me. I remember one time. This was a long time ago. Back when Pride was still around, they interviewed Wanderlei Silva about like fight preparation, and they asked him about whether or not he watches tape on his opponents and things like that. And he said, "No, I just train to be ready to that way I can just react when the fight happens,
Right.
and know that I have all my tools and cardio ready." Is that pretty much your point of view for the 11th?
Absolutely. And I kind of like a little bit of the side of it of not really knowing maybe who you're fighting. Because it takes away the aspect of like overthinking of what that person might do, or
Mm,
they do this, they do that. Well, that's not in play here. It's, well,
mm,
what am I gonna do?
yeah. What do you think is I mean, in my opinion, as an out of shape old, you know, overweight guy, but I mean, from what I know and other fighters I've talked to, I would imagine for this type of scenario, cardio would be the biggest focus.
Yep,
Is
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you have to be able to, you only have the first 2 rounds. You only have 5 minutes to do what you need to
Hmm.
do. So it's gonna be fast paced.
Mm. I mean, I wonder how I mean, you'll find out, I guess, on when you fight that night. But I mean, it's just like how much you have to come, because every round is going to be like a first round. So
Yep.
it's like I mean, you have to come out with. I mean, it's either excuse my language, but it's either like balls to the wall or swinging for the
Yep.
fence or whatever. Because you want to get a finish as early as you can, obviously, to be fresher and ready for the next one. Is that pretty much what you're expecting from the other opponents?
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be. I mean, it's atom weights, right? So atom weight fights tend to
Mhm.
be more fast paced anyway. And now with a short time to get something done, I think it's going to be very fast paced.
So, I mean, what's your take on people calling favorites and stuff like that? I mean, I feel like something like this, it's hard to choose a favorite in this type of format.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a different type of format, right? And
Mm,
it's literally a 1 round, 5 minutes. So anything can happen, right? One takedown, right? One small mistake. You get clipped hard, right? Anybody can do that.
Hmm.
That's so I don't necessarily think that skill's going to come into play to some degree, but
Hmm.
the like the least favorite person can easily beat the favorite
Hmm.
in one round, right, in 5 minutes. So I
Hmm.
think it's going to definitely be interesting how things play out.
Um, and preparing for it during the times that we're in now with the COVID situation. I know some people are opening things up or whatever, depends on where you're at. But for you, I mean, you fought in December, you're fighting now. Like how difficult has it been difficult to get ready for all these fights in during recent, with everything going on? Or like I know you're in quarantine right now. Like how frustrating is it? And just can you speak on that?
Yep. I mean, this fight, getting ready for it wasn't too much different at all.
Mhm.
I'm based in New York, so we've definitely had the toughest time with things kind of coming back to some level of like normalcy and being able to train and do things. But this fight, things were pretty much back to par, back to where they needed to be. December, that one was a little bit trickier because we were still, under like strict standards and
Mhm.
rules that we had to follow as far as like things we could do. But
Mhm.
we made it work. We found ways to kind of do it. It was actually interesting. It was like a lot more like one-on-one training instead of like training with a group of teammates and things like that.
Mhm.
This one, like I said, it was pretty much back to normal fight camp. Um, and as far as like being in quarantine like the week before, it's not for me. It's not that much of a different because fight week I tend to kind of like keep to myself a lot, like stay in the room, like chill
Mhm.
out, go get my supplies, stuff like that. But I'm not like running around doing all this stuff. So I'm like, it's not that different. I'm okay with it.
So is that? I mean, so now a couple fun questions for you. So with the quarantine and everybody finding something to occupy their minds and stuff like that, and what is your like? What's your go-to quarantine time passing? Like, I mean, do you binge watch something? You read stuff? Like, what do you get into?
I lay in the bed and sleep.
Hey, that's good too.
Yeah, that's
Especially
pretty. And like aimlessly scroll my phone.
so, where do you come up with? Because you often tweet out randomly these ideas for OnlyFans, but with something like, where do you come up with these remixes of OnlyFans ideas?
Oh, that's just a glimpse into my brain. The random things that happen. Um, and there's I mean, I can't think of the on Instagram, and like I think she does it on TikTok too. A girl does like a OnlyPans thing, so she does it's like all little different things like her cooking, but it's like funny and she makes it like jokingly provocative. So that kind of like spun it off a little bit too. I was like, this is really funny. Let's
Yeah,
have some let's kind of play off of this a little bit on Twitter.
yeah, no, because a lot of the ones you put out are pretty funny too. That's why I said I got to ask her about that. Um, but other than that, I mean, I guess I mean that's it for me. I think I've got all my questions as far as the tournament is. I mean, it's June 11th on Access TV, and I think it's on YouTube as well, right?
Yes, yeah, they're streaming on YouTube because not everyone has access, especially out
Hmm.
in Long Island. I know, a lot of some of the cable providers don't have it, so it works out. So now everybody still could watch it.
Yeah, no, I don't have it. That's all. That's how I'm watching it. But good luck to you. I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I know you're not going to disappoint. If you have any sponsors or anything, and put your social out there for folks to build up your following, by all means, go right ahead.
Yep. Thank you for having me on the show, by the way. So you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Lionheart Show. Um, I want to thank my coaches at Ring Sport Muay Thai and Long Island MMA and my manager, Jason Adams, and all my sponsors that have been kind of with me for years at this point, always supporting me. We got Seek Chick, we got Guard What's Yours, we got Receptra, CBD, we got Fighter Alias, we got Roger Mitterling, we got Donna Moore. I know I am forgetting people, and I apologize, but thank you.
Uh, all right, cool. So make sure you tune in Friday, June 11th, 8 p.m. Eastern on Access TV and YouTube if you don't have access. Um, Lionheart Jill,
Oh, and
everybody.
I remember somebody I forgot. Swole House Meals. They are awesome. They're actually fueling me up this week.
All right, cool, cool. All right. Well, good luck to you, Jillian.
All right, thank you.
All right.